Hello and welcome to Didz Plays Prussia. This is the 14th video in the series and covers the period from the winter of 1706 through the summer and winter of 1707. I'm just going to click the end turn button and we'll see what the AI has in store for us this turn. Okay, British fleet partially damaged, going out to sea. French still trying to keep the Barbary pirates off their sea lanes. Doesn't look as though the British have any ships in the channel that I can see. They just sailed a few of them off to the west. Anyway, that's their problem. Austria moving some troops around again. The Ottomans are going to be able to keep their trade lanes clear. Well, doesn't look like it. Oh, no. No. Looks like the Russians have blockaded the Ottoman port again. Oh, here they go. They're going to block the trade lane. That's it. That's not trade with the Ottoman Empire gone again. All Sweden besieging Copenhagen. It looks like Sweden have taken Copenhagen actually. Right, so the army of the Duchy of Courland has sallied out of the Jelgava fortress under the command of Dietrich Reimer and are trying to drive off Guttmann's Prussian besieging forces. This is going to be quite a challenging battle. It looks balanced according to the odds meter down here, but in practice I'm outnumbered more than 2 to 1, and although most of those troops are these civilian armed citizenry, I'm just concerned that I'm just going to get swamped by men, and we'll have to see. It's going to have to be played very cannily, I think. Anyway, let's see what it has in store for us. The battle began with the appearance of Courland's 5th Infantry Regiment immediately to the rear of the Prussian army. This battalion had been recalled from Riga, where it was guarding the river bridges over between Courland and Estonia, and was now trying to make its way into the fortress of Jelgava. Guttmann was determined that he wasn't going to allow this battalion to join the main Courland army, and so he immediately ordered the entire Prussian army to march to intercept it. A fierce firefight quickly developed between the opposing infantry lines, with the 2nd Battalion from Courland being heavily outgunned and suffering heavy casualties. With the opposing infantry mounting combat, Guttmann moved the Prussian cavalry through the wood on the flank of the Prussian line to position it opposite the flank of the Courland infantry regiment. And watching for an opportunity when the Courland infantry had lost unit cohesion and was in a confused state, charged the Prussian cavalry into its flank, routing it completely. This effectively ended the first phase of the battle. Guttmann now reorientated his army to face the approaching onslaught of the main Courland force. The defensive line that Guttmann had chosen for his confrontation with the main Courland army was a low wall which formed the eastern boundary of the walled enclosure, and the Prussian infantry now moved across the field and took up position along it. It was hoped that the protection offered by the wall would slightly offset the superiority in firepower which the Courland army would be able to bring to bear. So with the Prussian infantry moving into position, the Prussian army now waited the arrival of the Courland army. This was now appearing in massed columns over the top of the hill and closing on their position. Clearly the weak point was this fence, which was open on the left flank and would allow the Courland army simply to charge through and outflank Infantry Regiment number 7. To try to counter this, Guttmann had placed his cavalry on this flank, hoping to dissuade the Courland infantry from attacking in that direction, or if they did attack, with the intention of using it to countercharge and drive them off. As the attack began to develop, it was quite clear that the Courland army were massing a huge force of infantry on the left flank with the intention of overrunning the position of the 7th Infantry, and so the cavalry were immediately sent in to drive them off, and a fierce cavalry melee ensued on the left flank of the army. With the desperate struggle to defend the Prussian left flank now underway, the Courland army increased the pressure by launching a major assault frontally against the wall, and a fierce melee erupted all along the Prussian line. In the rear, even General Guttmann was forced to charge with his staff to drive off a small detachment of civilian volunteers who had infiltrated behind the Prussian army. There was a fierce contest, and then amazingly the entire Courland Army seemed to panic and run, with the Prussian horse in close pursuit. At first, Guttmann assumed that the Courland Army were just falling back to reform, and so he recalled his cavalry from the pursuit in order to preserve their strength to deal with the next attack. When it finally dawned on him that the Courland Army was actually in full retreat, he immediately countermanded this order and sent the cavalry back in pursuit in an attempt to prevent the Courland regular infantry from rallying. However, by then it was too late, and all this achieved was to leave the rear of the Prussian army undefended. And as a consequence, the Courland cavalry exploited this by moving into the rear of the Prussian army. Guttmann was forced to order his infantry to form square and to recall his cavalry to deal with the new threat. Fortunately, the Courland cavalry didn't put up much of a struggle, and a combination of musketry fire from the Prussian squares and a charge by the Prussian cavalry quickly routed them off the field. Now the Courland infantry had regrouped and were ready to make another assault. However, it was clear that this time the focus of the attack was not going to be the wall, but was going to be the gap on the left flank where the main fighting had occurred during the last attack. Guttmann therefore ordered the infantry to abandon the wall as a defensive line and to begin to form opposite the gap in the wall on the left. Both sides now began to mass infantry on the left, the Prussians moving their entire line to orientate in that direction. Another fierce close combat melee occurred on this flank, in which the entire Prussian infantry were involved. Guttmann now moved the Prussian cavalry across the wall into the open ground with the intention of attacking the Courland infantry in the flank and rear. However, before this attack could even close, there was another panic and the entire Courland army routed. This time, General Guttmann did not allow the opportunity for victory to slip through his grasp, but personally led the 4th Cavalry in a pursuit which harried the surviving Courland infantry all the way back to the safety of their fortifications. At this point the battle was effectively over, and the Courland infantry were literally chased off the field. This is the start of summer 1707. This is the situation around Jelgava after the battle. As you can see, we're still besieging the place. the enemy did manage to get their army into the town. So I don't know if they're going to want to fight further or not, but I'm just going to keep the siege on and see what happens. Routine reports first. Nothing happening on the government side. Policies. I still can't increase lower tax rate. We've lost Ottoman trade again, but there's nothing I can do about it. So not much to do on the routine activities side. Right, quick check on diplomacy. I'm going to offer peace to Poland again, and I'll throw in a trade agreement just to sweeten it. They're prepared to consider it, but only if I pay them 3,900 gold. Is it worth 3,900 gold for peace with Poland? No, I don't think it is. So they can forget it. I shall insist on what I've offered. And they're not prepared to accept it, so fair enough. The war continues then. Let's see if Russia's going to be a bit more reasonable. Can't actually offer them a trade agreement. And they're not prepared to consider peace. No fresh trade agreements available with new people. I'm not going to offer peace to Courland, because as far as I'm concerned, after that battle I deserve to take their duchy off them. So I'm going to stick it out with the siege and insist on unconditional surrender. What I want to do, if I do get Courland, if you recall, we need Denmark, and it's just been taken by Sweden, and I don't really want to go to war with Sweden if I can avoid it in order to get hold of Denmark. So what I thought I might try and do is, if I take Courland, I might try and do a deal, because I know Sweden like to own Courland. So they might be prepared to trade with Denmark for Courland. It's probably a long shot, but worth a try. So that's another reason why I'm going to persist with the siege here. So that's diplomacy out of the way. I think the first priority is to sort out our army after that battle. So again, I'm going to pay for retraining and replenishment of all Guttmann's army. And I'm also going to send them the 2 batteries of artillery, which would have been useful if they'd arrived before the last battle. Although in practice I'm not sure how useful they would have been really. I suspect they would have been overrun pretty quickly. I still can't believe I won that. I feel a bit guilty because I am aware that I ran my cavalry around at the gallop quite a bit during that battle, which I always said I wouldn't do. But let's just say I panicked. But I am quite pleased with myself because I didn't run the infantry around, if you notice. They walked everywhere throughout that. Nerve-wracking though it was. So that's their artillery sent. I'm going to disband these pikemen because they're just costing us money for no reason really. And I'm going to send these dragoons to West Prussia. Be interested to see if they do make much difference. Let's see if West Prussia. Yeah, it reduced lower class unhappiness by 1 having them there. Not brilliant, but better than nothing, I suppose. The Polish Revolutionary Army is still doing nothing, and they're still not getting any bigger. The artillery that I ordered in Warsaw has been produced, so I can now disband these old demi cannon. In the west, I'm going to see if I can kill off one of these Polish gentlemen with my assassin. Yay, he actually got one of them. Wolf Voss has been eliminated. That's good. That's one down, one to go. Poland, although it's being stubborn about making peace, doesn't seem to be taking any positive steps to recover Poland from me. Don't need to worry about them at the moment. I think that's about it. I've got some more money left. I don't know if there's anything to... Probably upgrade, yeah, that would be a sensible thing to do. If I upgrade Governor's Mansion to Governor's Palace, that should improve repression. Yeah, improves repression in the region, so hopefully we will gradually get West Prussia under control. And I think that will have to be the end of the turn. Can't think of much else to do, really. We'll just end the turn now and see what the AI has in store for us in the winter of 1707. Right. Rather battered British fleet heading back to port. No idea where they've been. Like it's got one of their better generals in charge of it though. The French still doing their anti-pirate raids along the North African coast. Just noticed that Hungary's being besieged by somebody, but I can't see who. Probably Poland. I can't think who else it would be, unless the Ottomans are up there. I'm not even sure if Austria is at war with the Ottoman Empire at the moment. Oh, the Austrians are at war with France. Fleet. Quite a bit of naval activity in the Channel at the moment. Well, what's Poland up to? Nothing, as far as I could see. We have the never-ending struggle over this port, this Ottoman port in the Mediterranean. The Ottomans just don't seem to be able to keep their trade lanes open. Well, trade lanes are open at the minute. Here comes a Russian fleet which will no doubt close them again. Yep. Okay, so no trade with the Ottoman Empire again next turn. movements in Denmark that I saw. Courland didn't do anything, just flipped past without any activity at all. I'll just run through the end of turn reports. We have a new gentleman in East Prussia, so let's go and have a look. Agents, gentleman scientist, so he's going to give us +1 to industrial technologies. So I'll move him immediately to the Krakow school. I sometimes try and group gentlemen with similar skills in specific colleges if I've got more than one. So, for instance, all the gentlemen with bonuses to science research in one college and all the ones with military research in another. But I haven't done that yet here. I haven't really had that many gentlemen. I had another one in Magdeburg. What's he got? He's another gentleman scientist. I'm just going to move them to the nearest college at the moment. We might have a rationalisation later where we sort them out into specialist groups.
Aha, ein Ort des Lernens und der Kultur.
The only real advantage of grouping them is that it encourages research of a particular type in a particular college and speeds it up to the maximum. Right, we have a new spy stroke assassin. It's a sensible thing to do is just send him in and see if he can get rid of this last Polish gentleman. Yes, he did. Okay, so that college is now free of intruders and interlopers, so our research there is protected. Diplomacy. I'm going to offer peace again to Poland. It's just sort of a regular routine, this. I'll sweeten it with a trade agreement. No, they're not willing to work. Peace for the Russians. No. I'm not going to offer peace to Courland at all because I'm going to annex their duchy, hopefully. And that's the end of all the routine checks. A quick check on the research. We should get animal husbandry, I think it is next turn. Right, let's have a look at the moves for this turn. In Courland we're still besieging Jelgava. Some of their army managed to make it into the town. Hopefully they're not managing to recruit replacements. They do have a new general in there though, which is a bit worrying. I'm going to merge my artillery now with Guttmann's army. I haven't had my replacements yet, so I'm not really interested in trying an assault. What I might do is just see if they'll surrender. I'll just see if they'll surrender. No, well, no, I haven't even got the option. Okay. It does tell us the strengths though, and it doesn't look like they are getting replacements. They've got one reasonable strength line infantry unit in there. Everything else is pretty weak. It's another 2 turns before they surrender anyway. I might just leave them there. Maintain the siege and not bother assaulting. I think they'll probably make a second sally in a minute. another turn, perhaps next turn. Any changes in Lithuania? Not that I can recall. I don't think that they're getting any stronger. Still building their government chambers. Now got an ordnance factory. There's no defences on that city. They're improving the settlement fortifications in Galicia. Oh, Montanowski. Right. Something was going on in Hungary earlier, I noticed. That was besieged. It seems to have been relieved now. But it looks like Austria's under a bit of pressure over there. Well, in the west, we've cleared the Poles out of the college, so there's no real need to have these assassins hanging around. I might send one of my assassins over towards Hungary and see if I can find out what's going on over there. Right. Apart from that, I don't think there's much else to do. I have 2,392 gold to spend this turn. I'm not sure if there is anything to spend it on as such. I don't think there's anything essential. Already improving government buildings there, so yeah. I don't think this needs to be built in Saxony. Nothing essential at all. Okay, well, I might just keep that money in the treasury and perhaps something will be needed next turn. I've got the artillery. Oh, what happened to the artillery I was building in Berlin? Did I move that? I can't remember. No, I didn't, because I've still got the old artillery. Okay, so move this artillery battery to join the army in Saxony and replace this old demi-cannon with it. And I'll disband these demi-cannons. Now, by rights, I've got the equivalent of what I consider to be 3 brigades of Prussian infantry in Saxony, and I usually like to have 1 battery per brigade, so I might, yes, I'm going to recruit 2 more field artillery batteries in Berlin this turn and move them to Dresden. Okay, that's the end of winter 1707. I can't think of anything else to do now. So that's it. End turn in a minute. The next video will be episode 15 and will cover the summer and winter of 1708.